I'm going to show you how developing a routine paved the way to the big leagues for all your favorite players and also changed the trajectory of my professional career. Now we're going to focus primarily on pitching routines and why you should set one for yourself, basically because I'm a pitcher. So I'll also share an brief outline on what my routines were as a starter and a reliever, because I did both in my professional career. What's good, everybody? It's Percy Garner, former Major League pitcher, and I want to help you become one. Now, we must remember on this journey, we must learn to crawl before we walk. And if you learned anything from this video, make sure you like and subscribe so I know to make more videos like this. Now let's get started. I always thought that success led to confidence. You know, if you performed well in the field, if I threw some strikes or got some strikeouts, then my confidence would go, through the roof. But after being drafted by the Phillies and having the opportunity to spend some time with Roy Halladay, I quickly learned from him, and it changed my career. So what I learned from him is that preparation leads to confidence. After he told me that, my mind was blown. I mean, all that I knew from all the sports that I played, I thought if I completed a couple passes, that I'd be confident. I thought if I, made a couple baskets, that I'd be confident. But it turns out routine and preparation is what breeds confidence. If you know that you've done all the work prior to performing, that instills confidence. It makes sense. Having the opportunity to watch Roy Halladay go about his work, he was meticulous, he was very focused, never spoke, he was locked in. And just watching him go through his work and his routine, it obviously made sense why he had so much success on the diamond. And I wanted to follow in his footsteps. I mean, would I be smart if I didn't? If you ask any top tier athlete, I feel like they would tell you that confidence is something that you need in competition. I mean, athletes can tell when someone isn't confident and then they go into attack mode. So if you can show confidence, that will help you out tremendously in your performance in any sport you play. And obviously having a routine and preparing is definitely a way to get a major confidence boost. Inconsistency plagues many young pitchers. They have a good outing or they have a great pitching performance one game, and then the next they might struggle or they might have a bad outing. Even young professional pitchers may start the season, off, pitching well or hitting well, and then by maybe mid-season or late in the season they start to struggle. This is most likely because they do not have an established routine. I mean, routine includes eating, sleeping, your workouts, lifting, stretching, also, of course, your throwing routine. I don't expect young pitchers to have a fully set routine, but high schoolers, they should be in the process of finding or figuring out what works best for them. There's a distinct difference between preparing for a start and preparing to come in a game at a moment's notice. It took me a very long time to believe that I was capable of being a reliever because of what you had to do to be ready to come in a game at a moment's notice. I thought I had to throw for a very long time. I thought I had to stretch and run for a very long time just to be prepared so I would avoid all injuries. I was very paranoid at this stage of my career. And like I said, it took me a very long time before I was able to do a reliever routine. I also thought I had to save all my bullets for the game. I didn't throw any game speed pitches before the game. Don't know what I was thinking. But that all changed once I faced Louisville, who was ranked, 7th, and they were undefeated at the time, and every scout in the world was there. I wasn't supposed to pitch, so I was throwing out in the outfield, warming up, throwing very hard, and my coach noticed this, and he noticed I never did this when I knew I was pitching, so he knew it was best for me. Shout out to Mike Stafford. But he thought it would be best to make a wager with me. So he said, hey, if you throw harder than the starter, I'll give you a king-size Snickers bar. So I took him up on that, and that game changed my life. I was topping out at 98 that game, and that it definitely became part of my routine to make sure I was throwing game speed pitches before the game. Okay, I promised I would share my routine. Now I'm going to start with the starter routine because that one is pretty much set in stone and very easy for me to, share with you. And I was just going to do an outline, but I guess I got carried away and we're gonna go kind of detailed version. So on game day, I would eat Jason's Deli. So I would get 2 meals. I would get a tuna melt and I would get what was called a Santa Fe chicken sandwich. So I would eat the Santa Fe chicken sandwich and I would save the other one for later. I would make sure that I did not sleep in. I wanted to get up and do something productive and not sleep in until 1 o'clock. So I would get up and just, maybe watch some ESPN First Take or play video games or just do something to get my mind off of the game that I was going to be playing later that day. Now, I would arrive at the stadium at 4 o'clock for a 7 o'clock game. And then I would eat my second meal, the tuna melt from Jason's Deli, and let that digest a little bit. And I'm already focused at this point. When I arrive at the stadium, I'm already kind of locked in, and I'm not really speaking much, and I'm just focused on, the task at hand. And so after eating and digesting all that, I would, go do some foam roller. I would do some arm exercises for my scap and my shoulder and just prepare my arm for throwing. After my arm exercises, I would get a nice 10 to 15 minute arm stretch that would get my arm activated and ready to move violently. After my stretch, I would then put in my headphones, listen to music, and while I got dressed, and I'm not gonna share any of my superstitions of how I got dressed, but then I would head out to the field, and then I would start my on the field routine. Now, this would consist of, some active stretching, getting the whole body loose, doing some sprints, and then I would long toss with the starting catcher that day. And after long tossing, I would take a little break, and then I would head into the bullpen where I would do my pregame pitching routine of anywhere from 25 to 35 pitches, and those would be game speed, and I'd have a sweat built up. I would have already faced the first 2 hitters, possibly the first 3 hitters, in simulating that at bat. And my pitching coach would stand in, whether the first 3 hitters were left or right-handed. So I'd get a look and kind of get in game mode. And then that would conclude my routine. I would head into the dugout and rest before the start of the game. I hope these tips encourage you pitchers to take the next step in your journey to becoming the best pitcher you can be. I love sharing all that I've learned throughout my career, and I really appreciate all the feedback you guys leave me. Now, if you want me to make a video covering something you have questions about, make sure you leave a comment down below in the comment section. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.